First channel migrants of 2022 shout, UK, we love you. Already in 2022, the first expected illegal immigrants have arrived. 66 in total, according to the Home Office. Mainstream media displayed great relish in the headline of "Young Girl in Pink Onesie." This was covered by most national media outlets and many local news outlets as well. Also, many online news platforms covered this same story with the same relish. At the same time, trying to pull at people's heartstrings with the imagery and headlines, they blatantly were hiding the fact that 99% of the illegals that were picked up were of young, fit men, like all the illegals who have landed or been picked up in the past. The same media organisations pushed out the same narrative throughout 2021. The same images and the same headlines. Mouthpieces for pro-open borders, charities and organisations, etc. No pushback whatsoever. I'm just going to relate some issues in the respect of local news. I've spoken about local news many times before when I've done live streams, and even sometimes when I've referenced it in videos I've made. So I'm going to actually talk a little bit about the local news in the respect of this particular story about the 66 illegal immigrants coming over, asylum seekers, whatever you want to call them. And it's sort of insidious to see how local news, some news outlets actually picked this story up and ran with it, and they replicated the same news headline in the respect of young girl in onesie gets picked up, etc. And there were about 6 or 7 regional news outlets I saw this in, and I did spend some time, a good few hours looking at this, all these different outlets. Then I did a bit more digging about it, and I thought, well, who actually owns these particular companies? You know, then I looked into it. It's a company called NewsQuest. Now that's the UK arm. It's called NewsQuest. So they own over 120 newspapers, media, etc., publications in the United Kingdom, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, England, etc. So when you look at some of them, I've put some of the images up there. There's information out there if you access it yourself. Google it, NewsQuest, and just do a little bit of digging about it yourself. And they've got a big reach in this country because local news is it's very prevalent for a lot of people. But what I've noticed a lot, and I noticed this, my awakening when it comes to mainstream media, was Brexit. When I say Brexit, I mean the EU referendum, and how insidious it was being pushed. You know, this the Remainers. Obviously, it was overwhelmingly people. You know, the new media pushing Remain. But then at that time, I remember doing this. I looked at all these particular newspapers, like your Manchester Evening News, your Birmingham Mail, newspapers from Shropshire. Then you go up to Scotland. All the different. Honestly, I looked at all the different newspapers. Ipswich Star. Anyway, it just goes on and on. Then you look at them all and you see who actually owns these companies. And so I did some digging, and it was a big shock to me because this particular company come up, NewsQuest, owned a lot of the papers at the time, and it's added more since then. Like I said, according to its website, it operates 120 local media brands in the United Kingdom. And the company actually who runs NewsQuest is a US-based company. It's called Gannett. Again, it's worth looking into. This is the same company what owns US Today, etc. So, again, I've just put an image up there. You can Google it, Gannett, if I'm saying that right. That's a company what owns it. So you've got a company who's actually got such a lot of influence in this country, which was a very pro-Remain agenda as well. It had a very pro-Remain agenda at the EU referendum, the vote. And as we've seen in recent years, they've got a very pro-open borders, free movement agenda as well. So I know a lot of people don't question this. A lot of people are sort of like, what's the word for it? Don't realise how manipulative local news is. But that's why I just pointed this out. So today I spent quite some time doing this, looking at all these different local newspapers, etc., and some national newspapers as well. They say national, that's in Scotland, and you just you do question it a lot more. So it's always worth checking sometimes when you look at some of the stories you source from, whether that's the national newspapers, whether it's online platforms, etc. Just try and source out where it comes from and work out yourself if there is a hidden agenda. So I just thought I'd put that bit of information out for you guys. All right, thanks. Priti Patel, known as Pinocchio Patel, has already started the year with more empty promises and bluster about tackling asylum seekers, illegals, deportation, etc. It's just endless what this woman is going to do for this country in 2022. Last year, 2021, was a year of empty promises and endless platitudes of how she and the government were going to tackle once and for all the issue of asylum seekers, illegals, etc. crossing the channel. Some key statistics on the English Channel crossings in 2021. At least 28,395 people reached the UK aboard small boats in 2021. At least 6,869 people reached the UK in November alone, the highest number in a month and nearly the entire total for 2020. 3,114 people made the crossing between November 10th and November 16th, the most in any 7-day stretch in the current crisis. 1,185 people reached British shores aboard 33 boats on November 11th, setting a new record for a single day. The record for 2020 was 416 people, set in September. January saw the lowest number of successful crossings, with 223 people arriving in the UK, one of only 4 months last year with a figure below 1,600. More than 1,000 boats are believed to have been met by Border Force or landed on UK beaches. Expect 2022 to replicate 2021. The only difference being is more asylum seekers, illegal immigrants, whatever you want to call them, will be arriving in 2022. I have no hope whatsoever of this government tackling the issue at hand whatsoever. Thank you for watching the video, and God bless.